The beck was virtually canoeable all the way down to Mearsbrook.
The traffic was terrible. We had to evacuate due to flooding.
My carpets are soaked through upstairs and the water's coming through too fast to catch it successfully.
The A57 was very dodgy when I came through there earlier. Lots of flooding, burst banks and debris everywhere.
My name's Wendy Wells. I'm a member of the Sheffield Forum, and on the 25th of June this summer, when the flooding occurred, I was filming down here. Came down at 9 o'clock when it was just speedy, and you could still see the cobbles for the weir that were here because there were little breaks coming down. And when I came here at 11 o'clock, I could see nothing. There were trees over there and the water was breaking on the trees, and it looked like a tidal wave was coming down the river. Boulders and bits of wood and everything were flying down. We could see a bit of the road because the water was so high. It's a bit of a steep hill, but you can see exactly how high the water had to get to even get anywhere near this top field. And then it managed to get all the way over to my houses. When I was filming out my bedroom window and I looked down, it was just a massive pool of water and all my garden furniture was floating about. I got off lightly compared to the neighbours who lived a little bit closer to the river. I grabbed my camera to look out the window when I heard shouting and screaming at the front of the property, and I looked out the window and saw water flowing down the road. And then one of the young girls who lives a couple of doors down, she went, "Wendy, go and look out of your back window." And that's when I saw that the entire estate had been taken over by the river. After I'd evacuated, we couldn't see any news in Sheffield because we had power cuts. Whether you were flooded or not, you'd got no contact with the outside world unless you got a wind-up radio. I've been doing little slideshows of friends' pictures and things like that on YouTube to share with people, and when I put it together I thought, well, it's important that people can see, you know, a first-hand experience of what it was like.
I think user-generated content was key during the floods, and it was easy for us to overlook as well. We were very busy scrabbling around, trying to get here, trying to get there, and suddenly what you wanted was there in front of you. Someone was making a phone call saying, "I've got this," or someone else would log onto the website and say, "Oh, someone is offering up that they've got a picture of." And yes, it was key. Without it, we would not have been able to get the full range of coverage we achieved. You can't be everywhere when you're news gathering. You've got to make decisions, you've got to make priority editorial decisions about where you want to be, what stories are important. When something as cataclysmic as the floods happened, stories were breaking out left, right and centre, stuff that would ordinarily lead an edition of Look North. Well, there was one over here, there was one over there, well, where do we go to? Well, you can't be at all of them, you just can't do it. So actually, the fact that people were out there gathering was fantastic because we were able to use it. As soon as it come down an email to us in a picture form, or someone had brought a tape into reception, we were using it.
It went mental. It was a way of everybody being able to find out what was happening in the city, because while the flooding was happening, there wasn't any news coverage about it because it was happening too quickly and changing so quickly that nobody could keep up. But everybody who was using the internet could relay information from different parts of the city as to what was happening. And we obviously got to look at traffic cameras and we could see flooding happening as it did, minute by minute. It never occurred to us that anybody else was looking. I've come to realise that you don't have to be a journalist to give people news and to get your points across. And people who are close to an issue and they can directly report it put a lot more heart into it because it's something that's important to them. Whereas if a journalist who's coming in to do a piece on an area, they're doing it in a detached way and a way that they've been trained to get news across rather than an emotional way. In the past, people have looked at news, and whether it's journalistic writing or whether it's television, and they've always put it on a pedestal and thought, oh, that must be really difficult. And it's coming to light that it might not be the quality that you'd get from a professional camera or a professional writing piece, but you can get your message across, and people are starting to realise that they're quite capable of reporting things.